J.D. Vance to visit military base in Greenland to check out security. Visit by U.S. Vice President comes as Danish PM says Donald Trump is putting unacceptable pressure on the island. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has said he will visit an American military base in Greenland on Friday, as Washington increased its pressure on the island of just 57,000 people. Vance said in a video on X that he would visit the Pacific Space Base to check out the security of Greenland. It's really important. A lot of other countries have threatened Greenland, have threatened to use its territories and waterways to threaten the United States, to threaten Canada, and of course to threaten the people of Greenland, Vance said. There have been no public threats to Greenland except from U.S. President Donald Trump, who has refused to rule out military force in his desire to take the island from Denmark. Vance added, speaking for President Trump, "We want to bad for Greenland. It's also been bad for the security of the entire world." His comments came just hours after the Danish Prime Minister complained that Washington was putting unacceptable pressure on Greenland and Denmark over its desire to take over the Arctic island from Copenhagen. Mette Frederiksen told Danish TV on Tuesday that a planned trip to the island by the U.S. National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, the secretaries for Energy and the Army, and the Vice President's wife to go dog sledding was not respectful and could not be regarded as a private visit, as Washington has claimed. It is clearly not a visit that Greenland needs or wants. Therefore, I have to say that there is an unacceptable pressure being put on Denmark and Greenland in this situation. And it is a pressure we will stand up to, she added. Vance said that his trip with his wife would be to the U.S. base instead of the dog sledding. Frederiksen's comments mark a new, more assertive tone from the Danish leader, who had been seeking to mollify Trump after infuriating him during his previous term in office, when she called similar remarks on Greenland in 2019 absurd. The remarks also came after Greenland's government publicly dressed down Trump, saying it had not invited any American officials to the Arctic island, while talks about forming a new coalition take place. The U.S. president said on Monday that his administration was working with people in Greenland who wanted something to happen. Trump added, "They're calling us. We're not calling them." Greenland's government repudiated that statement on Monday night, saying, "Just for the record, Nola Kursost, the government of Greenland, has not extended any invitations for any visits, neither private nor official." It added, "The present government is a caretaker government awaiting the formation of a new government coalition, and we have kindly requested all countries to respect this process." Trump has suggested that national elections in Greenland earlier this month helped the American cause, but the leaders of all 5 parties in Greenland's parliament have condemned. His comments. While 85% of the population said in a recent opinion poll that they did not want to become part of the U.S., Jens Frederik Nielsen, head of the Democratic Party and the likely next prime minister, told Greenlanders on Monday that they needed to stand together, but that there was no reason for panic. He added, "We must not be forced into a power game that we ourselves have not chosen to be part of." More brutal than buying it. Bewilderment over Donald Trump's Greenland obsession turns to fear. The sight of 2 giant U.S. Hercules planes disgorging bulletproof cars onto the runway in Nuuk has moved President Donald Trump's obsession with Greenland into a new, dangerous phase. The U.S. National Security Advisor, Vice President's wife, Secretary of Energy, and other officials are ostensibly arriving later this week on a private visit to watch the national dog sledding contest on the geopolitically vital island. A trip to the U.S. military base in the far north of Greenland is also likely. It is an explanation nobody in Greenland, an autonomous part of the Kingdom of Denmark, is accepting. astonishment and bewilderment at Trump's repeated interest in this huge frozen ED. If you're using like a scanner app, and it's like a scanner app, and it's like you're gonna die. Like, look at this. Like, it's compactly. Like, it's compacting. And we all know I've been exploring. I've been exploring that. Astonishment and bewilderment at compad, sikide. I compad with comre. We see gef. I can read ficao, I re with me, for we see with the unikani with kak, get a cook for I can see to know like the kkuk. What is happening now is reminiscent of the time before the annexation of Crimea, said Claus Matheson, a former military in Ukraine who is now a lecturer at the Royal Danish Defense College. Referring to the stealthy buildup of a Russian presence on the peninsula in 2014, a Nordic diplomat added the dog sledding excuse was the worst pretext for a trip since. Two Russians suspected of a poisoning attack in Salisbury claimed they went to the English city to visit its famous cathedral. It might have seemed like hyperbole only months ago to compare recent Russian aggression to actions by the US, a NATO ally of Denmark and Greenland. But Nordic officials say they're justified after Trump followed up his threat to acquire Greenland, potentially by force, with a series of increasing provocations. It's more brutal than buying it, said one. Greenland is in a particularly sensitive period, making the visit all the more extraordinary. The autonomous island is trying to form a new coalition government and will hold local elections next week. Greenlandic officials have made it clear there can be no meetings with the U.S. delegation until they have formed a new government. The anger could be felt in the comments on Sunday night by Egg D, the outgoing prime minister. The very aggressive American pressure against the Greenlandic society is now so serious that the level cannot be raised any higher. He told the newspaper Samisiak. He added that time was over when Greenland could trust the U.S. because of good mutual relations and cooperation. The public tone from Copenhagen was less spiky, but the subtext was the same. Lars Løkke Rasmussen, Denmark's foreign minister, on Monday said the visit showed a lack of respect and an inappropriate appetite from the Americans. In private, the previous attempts to be understanding and open to the U.S. desire for more cooperation in the Arctic have been replaced by annoyance at an administration riding roughshod over diplomatic norms. That Washington is Denmark's and Greenland's main security guarantor, military supplier, and NATO ally makes it even harder to take. Many believe Trump and the U.S. are misreading the situation, and they expect the latest visit to be met by protests. Copenhagen and Nuuk had been willing to discuss everything: an increased U.S. military presence on Greenland, as well as rare earth investments, except the one thing Trump wants above all else: land. Trump has repeatedly said he wants Greenland for national security, citing an increased Russian and Chinese presence in the Arctic. Maybe you'll see more and more U.S. soldiers go there, he mused earlier this month in the White House, belying an American military presence on Greenland that has fallen from a peak of 15,000 to about 200 at present. Greenlanders who initially thought Trump's interest could help their push to gain independence from Denmark now see the dangers. Demokratat, the unexpected winner of this month's national elections in Greenland, may eventually want independence, but at a much slower pace than some of its rivals. The leaders of all five parties in Greenland's parliament joined forces to condemn Trump and reiterate that they want to be neither American nor Danish, but Greenlandic. But as Egg distressed, it is clear that Greenland needs help from outside to withstand the growing U.S. pressure. Mette Frederiksen, Denmark's prime minister, may have posted a picture of her enjoying a cozy dinner with other Nordic leaders after Trump's previous overtures. But there has been little willingness from them or other allies to speak out against the U.S. The fact that our other allies in the international community feel like hiding in a small corner and almost whispering that they support us has no effect, Egdi added. If they do not speak out loudly about how the U.S. is treating Greenland, the situation will escalate day by day. Normally a source of national pride, This year's Avenata Sursu dog sledding contest is instead giving rise to anxiety in Greenland about its very future.